So in the entirety of Rainbow Six Siege lore, there's always been one thing that has been quite the same throughout of it, and that is the fact that none of the major operators have been killed. We know that the gameplay we are playing is outside of the lore, and it's kind of just seen as a training exercise for the operators, but in the story itself, our operators have been on many dangerous operations, but they have always ended in victory for our operators. That is until Ubisoft took the bold decision to flip the lore on its head and introduce the character Deimos. Before we go any further, I just want to quickly say if you are new here and you do going to enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe as we are on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So yes, the lore did take a turning point when the new villain Deimos actually killed the leader of Team Rainbow, Harishva Pandey, aka Harry. But we know Harry wasn't his only target, rather, Deimos wants to eliminate every single operator in Team Rainbow. Now, I don't know if this actually extends to the operators that left to join Nighthaven. I feel like they probably will be roped into it as well. I mean, Nighthaven is still as relevant to the plot as Rainbow is. The Deimos did claim his first victim, which was Harry, but we do know that he also injured 5 other operators in the process, which we've seen in the cinematic. And we do know the operators he actually did injure was Thermite, Kavera, Sledge, Ash, and Zofia. Now, we don't know the condition of Kavera and Zofia, those were the 2 ghosteyes operators who were partaking in that operation, but we do know the status of the 3 other operators who partook in that operation who are part of redhammer. So firstly, Sledge, we know Sledge is injured, but he seems to be in an okay condition since his friend Maestro actually said in one of the Battle Pass lore descriptions that Deimos did hurt Seamus, which is Sledge's real name, and Maestro wants revenge, and what a badass way he said that in. So Sledge is injured and we assume he's in an okay condition, and the brand new Commanding Force comic actually showed us the status of Thermite and Ash. So Thermite is actually pretty injured, he is clearly beaten up around the body and he's actually using a walking stick to walk around, so it does seem like he is going to be out of the missions for a little bit since it's clear that he can't even walk on his own. But as far as we know, the person who actually had it the worst was Ash, who's actually ended up in a coma. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are actually kind of surprised that Ash has been the one who ended up in a coma. She wasn't one of the squad leaders and stuff like that, because going up to this new storyline with Deimos, they were kind of setting up Ash to be one of the biggest operators in the lore, and she still is. But from what we were previously shown with Ash, it does kind of seem like she has kind of taken the back seat. We always seen her talking to Harry, who was the director of Team Rainbow. She was the primary person to oppose not only Nighthaven joining Team Rainbow, but how they actually acted when they were in Team Rainbow itself. But during that whole conflict, it kind of showed that Ash represented Team Rainbow and Callie represented Nighthaven. So for Ash to kind of just be put as a member and not a leader of a squad was quite surprising for a lot of people. And so to kind of be given the back seat and now potentially life-threatening injuries, it's pretty safe to ask the question, what's going to happen to Ash? How is she going to end up? Is Ash going to be the first ever siege operator to actually die in the lore? Now, let's take a look at the question of Ash actually dying. What story benefit would that actually bring to the lore? I'm someone who heavily dislikes cheap deaths in movies and TV shows, which are just kind of done for shock value. If you're going to kill off one of your main characters, it has to be impactful and there has to be some reason behind it that's going to affect the story going further. So what would be the implications of Ash dying in the story? So for starters, it would further Rainbow's cause to take out Deimos. It could give them even more of a reason to go after them, although they do have one right now, but it would just further their efforts because they're at a breaking point. But everything that happens in Siege lore has to do with the relationships between the operators. If you guys saw my theory video from a few weeks back where I told you that Ella and Zofia were the key to Rainbow and Nighthaven working together again, I feel like this whole thing with Ash actually plays into that once again. Because a lot of the operators that were injured by Deimos have links to Nighthaven operators, which could potentially convince them to start helping Rainbow again. Sledge has ties with Smoke, Thermite has ties with Aruni, we actually made a video about that a few weeks ago as well, the Bangkok operation. Zofia is of course the sister of Ella, and I guess despite their rocky relationship, Ash is closely linked with Callie. I kind of see the relationship between Ash and Callie as a sort of, I don't like you, but I respect you. And I feel like Callie being a respectable leader wouldn't really take kindly to knowing that Ash was actually put in a coma for reasons which are kind of linked to Nighthaven because of their gear being stolen. So if Ash were to actually die, I feel like that would further that point and the motivation between both Rainbow and Nighthaven to start working together again. So let's look at the logical aspect. Would they actually kill off an operator? They could. It wouldn't affect the gameplay at all. Lore doesn't affect gameplay. But considering they are planning to support this game for at least another 10 more years, I feel like killing Ash, one of the most popular operators in the game, especially at this point in time, probably isn't going to make much sense from a story standpoint as well as financially. And even though Harry wasn't a playable character, killing him off was still a massive thing to do. So if they could actually do that to a playable operator, it would be probably the biggest decision that they have ever made. And I guess we should mention Operation Amber Sky, which was a limited time event in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is set in 2025, and one of the 3 operators available in that event was Ash, and it was a story event. It did follow a story. Now, we don't know if it's actually canon to the Rainbow Six Siege universe. Technically, Ubisoft haven't confirmed that it is, because Rainbow Six Siege is currently in 2023. It follows the same year that we follow in real life, so it's still 2 years away from Operation Amber Sky. But considering the Rainbow Six event, which happened in Ghost Recon Wildlands, Operation Archangel is referenced in Kavera's bio in Siege, that pretty much confirms that that was canon, so I think it's pretty safe to assume that Operation Amber Sky will be canon as well. But the reason they haven't mentioned that in Siege yet is because Siege is in 2023 currently, and Amber Sky happens in 2025. But that's a whole can of worms on itself, because the playable operators in that are Ash, Thatcher, and Finka is currently in Nighthaven, so why is Finka working with Ash and Thatcher? But that's a whole can of worms for another day. I guess the narrative team do have like 2 years to catch up to that point anyway and explain it. But I guess the main thing to take from this is if Amber Sky is canon, which kind of pointing that it is, then it confirms that Ash is still alive in at least 2025, confirming that she actually did not die from the blast from Deimos, but we are yet to see how long she is actually going to be in that coma. But I do think the fact that Ash is in a coma is going to play a massive part in the story, and like I said, I do think it's going to have some form of an effect on Callie, because I do think Ash and Callie's relationship goes further than just I hate you and nothing else. I definitely think there is going to be more we're going to learn between them in the future, and heck, we're even yet to hear what Nighthaven has to say about Deimos, about Harry's death. We've actually heard nothing about them since the Operation Solar Raid cinematic, where Callie actually gets confronted on the runway by both Kavera and Solace, and actually the rest of Ghosteyes. And Ash being the one put in a coma is one of the most major things since how prevalent she was in the lore, and honestly, I'm not going to be surprised if she actually stays in that coma for a good amount of seasons. And judging by Thermite's reaction in the comic, it does seem like Ash is the only one that has been injured to this extent. I mean, when he was arguing with Hibana, I assume if Kavera, Sledge, and Zofia were injured as much as Ash was, he probably would have used that in the argument as well. So it is pretty safe to say that Ash has been the only one that was put in a coma, and the rest of them are probably injured, maybe not even to the extent that Thermite was injured, but definitely are hurting. Considering in the cinematic, they didn't actually show the blast radius of Sledge, Kavera, and Zofia, we actually only seen Ash and Thermite being the ones blown up. But of course, as the lore continues to develop, we will learn more about their injuries and how impactful it actually is going to be on the story. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Where do you think this story is going to go? I definitely do think it is going to have links to Nighthaven. I think everything that they're doing with the relationships between the operators will link to Nighthaven in the end, because it definitely seems like the story is going to go in a direction where Rainbow need Nighthaven to defeat Deimos, and Nighthaven need Rainbow to defeat Deimos, and they can put aside their differences and fight for the common good. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Ash is going to remain in the coma for a while? Do you think she's actually going to leave it pretty soon? Or do you think that they will maybe take that chance and actually kill her off in the lore? Really interested to hear everyone's thoughts, so be sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, dislike it if you did not, subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you all later. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.